Alrighty, pilgrims, alrighty. A very good morning to you, Grenada, and the rest of the world. We are up and running on this beautiful Wednesday morning here on the Spice Isle. I'm George Grant, and thank you very much for joining us for today's edition of Gudday Grenada. Today is the 15th, middle of the month, 15th day of January 2020. Still trying to get used to that. So, interesting program as always this morning. Yes, sirree. Well, I think this morning is going to surprise you because we're doing things a little bit differently this morning. We only have 2 segments this morning. 2 segments. But I can guarantee you there are going to be very, very interesting segments. The first one is a video. Yes. It is intended to identify the benefits of the CBI. For those of you who don't know what the CBI is, it's the Citizenship by Investment Program. They did a post-cabinet briefing yesterday, and they had 2 objectives. One, to identify the benefits of the CBI so that you and I could know what the CBI is all about, and the clearing up of any misconceptions. And as you know, there are a lot of concerns about the CBI while they try to clear that up. So I decided, let me show you folks that this morning, and you decide. We'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. And in addition to that, Sherron's going to be in here. Expecting Sherron to be sitting next door to me just momentarily. He's a little bit late getting the rundown up there for you, but Sherron should be joining us in just a wee bit. So far, good morning, Bernard Gilbert. Congratulations, Mr. Gilbert. Yes, sirree, the race continues. Bernard's first this morning. Margaret is second. Benedict Cador is saying, wonderful Wednesday. Well, wonderful Wednesday to you too, my friend. John Franco saying good morning. Carla Ray Angela Briggs. Hey, where did the Angela come from, Carla Ray? Haven't seen you in eons, you know. One of these days. She's saying good morning all. Cher, Gilbert, etc. Happy New Year. Have a great time on the program. We always have a great time on the program, Carla. Anyhow, folks, let's really not waste any time this morning, because we got something really interesting to show you. Really interesting that I want to share with you. I think you will find it of interest, not just me. I went to the government's website last night to download yesterday's post-cabinet briefing because I wanted to share that with you this morning. I was a little bit taken aback to learn that the file on the site, the file that you are about to see, did not begin at what one would have thought was the beginning of the briefing. I don't know what the reason is for that, okay? But apparently they picked it up into the briefing. So I'm not sure what we missed. I'm not sure how much we missed, okay? Nor what we're missing. However, I will play for you what I was able to get from the site last night. Runs just a tad and a half an hour. And as a result, because it's that long, you will not have the national report this morning. As you listen to this, my dear friends, please look for the unanswered questions and the uncertainty in some of the answers to the questions that were posed. I leave the rest in your hands.
What is the status of the Livera project with regard to what we would have seen published in the papers then? Is there also some type of investigation for clarity and so?
Well, I don't think Livera falls under the same kind of ambit as the shrimp farm. They would have had a previous investor that would probably not have met certain conditions. And we have a new investor now that's looking at Livera. And my information is that the new investor and the previous investor are in negotiations to tie up whatever issues that may have arisen. So that is the status with Livera, but Livera is proceeding as far as we are concerned under the new investor as it should be.
I know that you were recently appointed, but at the time, the Prime Minister did say that the government had to take some new measures with regard to funding, with regard to escrow accounts. Since that time, what is the new measures that has to be taken with regard to protections of persons who are investing accounts?
Yeah, thank you for this question, because I should have mentioned that since after the incident that you mentioned with the shrimp farm, we have gone to Parliament and passed legislation demanding that investors open an escrow account locally so that the funds for the project will be deposited in an escrow account in Grenada. That is to safeguard what happened previously, because this is a new program for us and you will have new issues arising all the time. And as issues arise, we examine it, and if we need to amend the law or change policy or procedure, we do that. So yes, the law has been amended to ensure that local escrow accounts have been established in which the funds will be deposited for projects.
That's the funds from the people who are investing in the project, or funds for the project?
Funds from the person who are investing in the project to develop the project.
With regard now to our the international agents, I think they're called marketing agents, right? Are you in a position to tell us the number of international as well as local agents?
There are 46 marketing agents and 22 local agents.
International marketing agents?
Yes. 46. Local agents, 22.
Sorry. My other question has to do with one person had asked me in a conversation, and I'm going to ask you here, whether or not a person who would have obtained a passport, what happens when it has to be renewed? Is it renewed how a local will walk in and say, I'm here to renew my passport and provide the requisites? Or do they have to do it again through the agents, and the due diligence process must be involved? How are persons who obtain in citizenship and have a passport renew their passport? What's the process?
It's through the regular renewal process. And they don't have to come back to CBI for another approval. However, our due diligence activities are so heavy that should there be any obstruction while you have had a Grenada passport, the due diligence companies do follow up on those who are issued passports, and should they find anything derogatory or negative, we have the option to revoke the passport.
The program started since 2013. Have we revoked any persons who have received passport? Have we revoked any citizenship and passports?
Not to my knowledge at this point.
On the issue of the shrimp farm, we know that monies were received, passports were issued, citizenship was granted, and passports issued, so that the government would have collected revenue. I think it was $50,000 per. Can you tell me which fund that money went into, and how did Grenada use that money?
Well, as indicated earlier, Callistra, we would reserve comment on the shrimp farm issue until the investigations are completed.
Okay. Rena Pierre, GBN. Minister Joseph, my questions are for you. Could you comment? I know that the U.S. Secretary for the State is visiting Jamaica to meet with CARICOM leaders next week. Could you tell us who would be representing us, or if we'll be represented at all?
This matter did not come up at yesterday's cabinet meeting, so I do not have an answer for you.
Okay. Another question. It's relating to your constituency. We have the juvenile center. That will be in Senang. But anyway, the juvenile center. We want to know if, well, I would like to know if this center is really fulfilling their intentional purpose at this point in time. I really would like to know that. And as it relates to the young men or young people involved, proper supervision. We had 6, one still at large. Do we have the proper supervision for them?
As far as I'm aware, this center is playing a critical role in helping shape and transform lives of young people. There are a lot of benefits. They did extremely well last year in the CXC exams and in the skills training. So from my knowledge of it, it's meeting its objective. With respect to the person that you said is not yet, it's still missing, I cannot comment. I have no further information on that, but I know that they're properly staffed, and the Ministry of Social Services is the ministry that under which they operate. So I could only speak from the best of my knowledge, sitting in cabinet and listening to the minister, that we are satisfied with how it is operating.
In the discussion yesterday, was there anything as to measures made to let with the 6 being gone, well, not being gone, but being able to leave the facility, any extra measures being put in place to ensure that?
Yes, the minister called an emergency meeting of the board of directors and staff to discuss measures that will be put in place to ensure that that does not happen again in the future.
Right. My final question, it's regarding the Langain Corner. I know that there's some work being done at it. I think it's in between Windsor Paris and Pegmotor. There's been work being done there, but motorists and persons are concerned that it's still a safety hazard, and thinking that the road should be closed for a while or until the situation has been fixed.
Yeah, I've heard that concern. It's in my constituency. Work started to build a wall, and then the road collapsed, and they started digging into it. When I spoke to the Ministry of Works engineer, they said they are meeting with the police and they will make a decision. First of all, they were looking at having it only one way instead of blocking it off for 2-way. But this decision is made between the engineers in the Ministry of Works and the police department. And they will decide whether to block it off completely or whether or not it is one way. The latest report that was given to me is that it is a one-way traffic at the moment.
Minister, if I could just go back to the gentleman at the CBI. You mentioned of an investigation. Can you disclose to us who is conducting that investigation?
I know it's handled by our Attorney General's office.
Sorry. Sometime last year, I think, in 2020, right? I think in 2018, on the CBI website was noticed of, I think, of the people who are the shrimp farm. No application is accepted from that company, to that company. It is posted on the website. I think it was from October 2018 that the committee is no longer accepting application through that project. Are there any projects that Grenada has ceased to accept application from? And from the time it has started, are you in a position to tell us how much the CBI is contributing to our GDP?
I can see that there are no further applications under the shrimp farm issue.
Yeah, I
All right.
understand
That is
My
closed.
question is if there are other projects where
No.
similar measures were taken.
Not on the current projects that we have, apart from the shrimp farm issue. GDP contribution, CEO, you have an idea?
Thanks. I would estimate it to be about 10%.
Annually from 2013 or 10% for 2019?
For 2019.
Do you have data for the other years?
No,
Or-
no, I don't have prior years data.
That contingency fund law that was passed, I think in December, can you explain it a little bit more to the general public, please, Minister?
Yeah, sure. Now, under the Act, CBI Act requires us to put aside 40% of revenue earned from the CBI into a contingency fund that we can use in case of emergency. So if you have any disaster and you need to respond to it, you have 40% of the fund set aside. That is different from when we present the budget and we talk about a contingency under the budget. This contingency and the budget is to meet recurrent expenditure. See, this contingency fund is directly related to the revenues collected on the CBI that must be set aside. So we have a set aside of 40% of the revenue collected that we can use, and the Act goes into all the details, how you could use it, when you could use it, what will trigger it. You know, I say disaster is one such area in which you can use this contingency fund, and therefore the law sets clearly how you could access this contingency fund.
I know that it should be managed, I think, or supervised by a committee. Can you tell us who are the members of that committee?
Right.
As well as who are the other members of the current CBI committee, besides the chair which were introduced
Oh, the
today?
current CBI no, well, you're talking about two different
Yes.
committees. I will deal with one with the contingency.
Okay.
The chair will tell you about who are the members of the current CBI committee, right? Now, there's a committee. What the law identifies the area from which the people must come from, so the act was passed in December to take effect in January. Very soon, Cabinet will name the members. The ECCB will have representative. In fact, the ECCB, the funds will be held. The ECCB will have control in terms of investing the funds. And where is the best place to invest the fund? On the international market to invest these funds. Because if you have 40% in a contingency fund and it's just lying there, then you get no benefit from it. So it will be done to invest. So it's very soon, the members, as I say, all what the Act says is where they should come from. One from finance, one from accounts, one from business, and it will be named very shortly by the Cabinet. The members of the current committee will be dealt with by the
Right. Well, we have myself as chairman. Our deputy chair is Mr. Ronald Theodore from GIDC. We have Mr. Philbert Charles sitting. We have Dr. Wayne Sandyford, Ms. Ophelia Wells, and Ms. Edith McDonald, and Senator Katisha Williams.
Gentlemen, may I just ask, while Grenada is a prime country, what else can be done under the CBI program to ensure that the program maintains its credibility and possibly even become better?
Thank you. One very important point to maintain its integrity and expand it in terms of longevity would be the due diligence factor. That clears us from accepting or putting through in our communities undesirables. And I think that's one of the most important things. The other important thing is in terms of program, we are instituting now some mechanisms where we monitor the payments coming in. We want it to be on a timely basis. So we have been developing processes to maintain that. As I'm on the line, I would just, I want to compliment the minister and the administration for having thought to put 40% in a set-aside account for incidentals like disasters. I spent a long time in a disaster area, and after a hurricane, for example, the residents go scampering here, there, and everywhere without direction, without any monies, help, except for the federal government because it's a U.S. territory. We don't have a federal government, a U.S. government to back us up. So that contingency fund is well placed.
Let me just add to the due diligence aspect that you mentioned, because I think it's important that we understand the multi-layered aspects of that. And because of how the program is set up, when a potential applicant makes an application, there are a number of checks. So you have the international marketing agent that have to do some vetting and checking. You have the local agent, that's another layer, that has to do a number of checking. When monies are received through the banks and through the banking system, the source of the funding have to be checked again to make sure it's coming from a requisite source. And then we have the international agencies that do the checking, like Exeter and, of course, FIU and so on, that does further checks to make sure that these applicants are what they say they are, and the monies that they're coming with comes from a source that can be trusted. So we have this multi-layered level of checking and security screening to ensure that we reduce the risk to almost zero, and to ensure that the applicants that come are bona fide people. So I wanted to spend a little time on that because I think it's important for the public and the general to understand that we do maximum screening at both regional, international, and at international levels to ensure that the applicants are properly vetted. And that, to answer the question posed, that helps in ensuring that the program continues to have sustainability. Because if you have a program that attracts rogue people, then in no time your program can fall down based on pressures from the international community as well as the locals.
So our system of checking depends heavily on an applicant actually not really being in any of the formal systems, so that even if they are involved in anything questionable, unless they have been tracked officially by an agency or something, we really won't. We have no other way of there are no other methods besides what is already on the books.
Well, I mean, if you're a citizen from another country that has a certain amount of disposable income and you want to apply to a program under citizenship, whether it's this country or any other country, first of all, one of the most critical checks is the money. Follow the money. If you follow the money, you tend to get an understanding of where or how the monies came about. Most of this will come from bona fide businesses that they invest in and so on. So we will follow that, and of course we will follow the other things that comes with the application, your education level and so on, your citizenships and so on, so that we get a profile of the person. So when the international security companies do their checks, we check for bankruptcy, we check for companies that you are involved in, what business they're involved in, and that type of thing, to ensure or to give us some level of satisfaction that when the monies come, and then the banks do their own checks to their own international agencies as well, to ensure that these monies are coming from bona fide sources. If you're outside of a system, I don't know how it will come, because if let's assume you're a drug lord and money laundering, you must put the money into the system somehow. And once the money comes in, then we follow the money. So it is difficult to be outside of the system and come in to say buy citizenship, because you must declare the source of your funds, as an example.
So, well, terrorists and drug dealers and so usually find somebody clean to do their work for them and create their money trail. That is the whole point of it. Because I have a question for the minister.
To add to the chairman's comments by putting out there that these due diligence companies, even if you're out of the formal system, they engage people on the ground in the communities from where these applicants come to do a report on them. So even if you're out of the system, there is someone going to find you. They're going, because we furnish data to the due diligence company that they send out their people on the ground to gather information.
Minister, my hopefully final question, it has to do with CCC. I understand that the CCC, Consolidated Contractors, that they that government is owing them quite a large sum, and there's some difficulties there, and that government might be planning to engage a Chinese company to do some of our major road works that CCC would have traditionally done. Can you comment on that, please?
No, I cannot comment because I don't have the information.
Minister, just a little bit more on that CBI program. One of the benefits is Grenada citizenship. Has Grenada, as a minister, sit in parliament, sit in cabinet, has Grenada appointed any of the CBI citizens to a diplomatic post? And if so, sit where?
No, that diplomatic posting is something completely different from the CBI program that attract.
My understanding is to become a diplomatic representative of Grenada, you have to be a citizen, and you can gain your citizenship through CBI, as well through naturalization as well as birth. So has anyone who have gained citizenship through CBI has been appointed by this government to serve in any diplomatic position?
No, I said the diplomatic track is different. And if you're an ambassador at large, you don't have to be a citizen. An ambassador at large does not get the diplomatic immunity. You know, people think because you're an ambassador, you get diplomatic immunity when you're accredited to a state. So if we appoint you as ambassador to Cuba or the United States or whichever state you're appointed, and the receiving state will do all the due diligence check and accept you, then you get the diplomatic immunity. If we appoint someone that is say like if we have an ambassador to the United States that have citizenship of the United States, they will say this person cannot get diplomatic immunity because they're one of our citizens, right? So the protocol established, the Vienna Convention of 1961, deals clearly with the established immunity and the protocols and how people will be treated. There is a whole international protocol, the Vienna Convention governs that. So the same diplomatic immunity that the U.S. ambassador will have here that is appointed to Grenada, our ambassadors in the United States will have diplomatic immunity and privileges. If you, as I said, appointed an ambassador at large, so that means you are not appointed to any country. It's just an envoy. You would not receive diplomatic immunity. There are some courtesies that will be extended to you on airport arrivals and so on. You will see a line saying diplomats, and you enter it, but you are not immune from anything. And I think that sometimes it's confused with all holders of diplomatic passports getting immunity. It is not like that.
I do understand what you're saying, but sometimes we have people who are led to believe differently, and that's why I asked if we have CBI citizens who were ever appointed to hold diplomatic posts. That's my reason for that.
No. The answer is no. Yeah.
Just a question. Based on a lot of things being said and reports made by Al Jazeera and stuff like that, my question is here, our CBI program, is there any case where, or is there anything stating where ministers or persons within government bringing in investors to be a part, or introducing investors to be a part of the CBI program? Do they have that kind of privilege?
Well, anybody could bring an investor to the country. The idea is if you want to do your investment under the CBI umbrella, then you have to follow the dictates of the law that allows you the privileges to be part of the CBI program. But investors don't have to come under CBI, and anybody could introduce an investor. I could introduce an investor to the government in a particular area where they may think that there is need for development and so on. So it doesn't restrict in that sense. But once you want to come under CBI, then you have to follow the rules and the law that the CBI will have for that.
My final question to you, Senator Diali. There are people who feel that in your present position you have a conflict of interest. You represent the business community in the Senate, and now you're representing a government entity. What's your comment to this?
Well, interesting. I don't see the conflict, but as chairman of CBI, I only have one vote on the committee as chairman, governed by a board. And if there is conflict, then I excuse myself, state the conflict and excuse myself. So we recently had an application that was put forward by CBI as an example. And that person was a member of my family, and I excused myself from the room, and then the rest of the committee handled the application. So if things like that come up, I mean, there's a protocol established for conflict of interest, and whether it comes, and if once it comes up, you do what has to be done.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Liz. Any update on our oil and gas situation? I don't think we've heard anything for a while. The last I heard was that a Chinese company had bought over interests from the Russians, who seems to have run out of the requisite funds for what needed to be done. Any updates? And can we now say, I know government had refused to tell the people of the nation what is the name of the new entity that now has exploration rights. Can we now know? So an update, sir.
The government has made all the information available, and what the latest position you've heard from the government is still the latest position. I have no other information to the contrary concerning any new company or whether drilling. I think the appropriate minister responsible for energy, will make a statement in due course to keep the nation involved.
Colleagues, are we through? All right. Thank you so very much. Is there any final word any member on the head table would like to make before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I want to say that this citizenship by investment, perhaps we need to do more publicity with respect to how the country is benefiting. Because coming into St. David's will be a new hotel that will be constructed as a result of the citizenship by investment program. This hotel is expected to create hundreds of jobs for people of Grenada. And of course, for St. David's, it's huge because we need to attract investment of that nature into the rural areas of Grenada. And we have other areas in the island, St. Mark's, for example, where I know our next CBI project is going to be located. And there are tremendous benefit. So this fear of CBI, I think, is because of a lack of knowledge and maybe the citizen not involved enough. So I'm aware that the CBI committee has this year decided to keep the public relations up in terms of informing the public of the benefit of the program, because it does bring a lot of benefit to the people of Grenada.
I share the same sentiments as the minister.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you very much to the minister and, of course, the officials at the head table, and to all our colleagues, and, of course, all of you viewing online or on GIS TV, GBN, as well as MTV. So just to remind you, the Honorable Oliver Joseph, Minister for Trade, Industry, Cooperatives, and CARICOM Affairs. To my immediate left, to his left, Mr. Christopher Diali. He's the chairman of the CBI, and to Mr. Diali's left, Mr. Percival Clouden, the CEO of CBI. And, of course, we've been speaking this morning specifically about the citizenship by investment program, and it is important to note, as the minister said, more needs to be done just so that the public understands the benefits of the CBI and that there are no misconceptions. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming.
All righty, folks. All righty. Now, having sat for 29 plus minutes and watched that, can you understand why I found it absolutely necessary to share that with you this morning? I just felt you had to see for yourselves, okay? Needless to say, a lot of comments were generated, and I'm going to try and go through them here, at least some of them. Let me see here. Arthur Langine says, my dear people, who the government think they're talking to? His first comment. T.F. Richards says, so all them crooks that get caught are still holders of our passports? Margaret Francis says, what are the issues with the Livera? Who is the new investor? Did the promised investigation of the shrimp farm take place? What was the outcome? Who will manage the escrow account? Who are the agents? I'll tell you what. Next time there's a post-cabinet briefing, I'm going to take a little pickup truck, come around, pick up all of you guys, bring you down to the garden so you could fire off them questions, all right? I think you guys would do a heck of a job, eh, Sherron? They would do a heck of a job. I don't think they're ready to face you guys. Now, Margaret also says, it's not the Secretary of the State. It is Secretary of State, damn it. Okay, Mags, okay. T.F. Richards says, what media house is the lady behind Rena Peer representing? To the best of my knowledge, T.F., she does not represent a media house, but I've seen her in several post-cabinet briefings. Don't know. Arthur says, good question coming from those sisters, and shame on those ministers in the so-called government. T.F. Richards says, if a minister is not prepared for a certain question, why the hell doesn't he just say so instead of making himself sound foolish? I don't know. Carlene Vesper is saying good morning. TF says, you're coming to a press conference and none of the participants or panelists are or were prepared. What a shame. Arthur says, are you surprised? Margaret says, if 40% of the CBI proceeds are to be set aside, has that been done? And how much funds are currently in the, I guess she didn't complete the sentence, but I guess she wanted to say how much has been collected, right? She also goes on to say, the ECCB will be managing the funds? Did I hear him say that? How ECCB getting that? Now you understand why I had to run that beast. TF says, if these so-called chairmen had testicular fortitude, they wouldn't chair any agencies or bodies under this government. He actually says grabament, which is Margaret's way of saying government. It's a shame. And look at the makeup of the board. Benedict Cador says, maintain its credibility? Can one maintain what was not present before? Picking you guys up 7 o'clock next Tuesday morning. T.F. Richards says, he spent a long time in disaster. All you look, he's going to be in NADMA just now. Margaret says, does anyone really trust that bunch of jokers sitting at that table to manage the CBI? Or they're all blind? Yeah. Okay. Words, just words, says Benedict Cador. TF says, Mags, due diligence, the NNP way. Margaret says, TF, you're sure right about that. Benedict Cador is asking the question, have we refused any applications? Margaret says, yeah, right. And people on the ground go spill the beans. Spice Babes Duncan says, Callistra Tharia, you are in the hot seat. Keep the courage. Don't let them discourage you. God is always able. Lydia James says, you won't see it, of course. I'm not sure what she's referring to there. Arthur Langine is saying, well, then how did John Liu get through? T.F. Richard says, after spending all these years doing nothing in Parliament, I thought there would be more from this chairman. How sad. In my opinion, he has outlasted his duties and should just fade away into the sunset. Oh boy, how many more of these do I have? T.F. Richard says, and the new Minister of Comedy is Oliver Joseph. Benedict Cador is pointing out, they're talking about the creation of hotels. Benedict says hotels create mostly minimum wage jobs. Andrea St. B says, fear of the CBI as a result of lack of knowledge? How about the fear being as a result of all the bad deals and crooks associated with the program? Okay, Andrea? Lydia James says, fix the so-and-so roads first, then talk about hotels. You're putting the cart in front of the horse. I'm so damn mad. Take a deep breath, Lydia, take a deep breath. Anthony DeRig says, will the new hotel be constructed in St. David on the wetlands in Lassagess? Time will tell. Arthur Langine says, Mr. Minister, can you build a hotel in Marigot, St. John's? Time will tell, Arthur. T.F. Richard says, thank God it's done. 29 plus minutes of confusion. Spice Babes Duncan says, the oil and gas is a secret now. Everyone is hush-hush. But during the campaign, so many people went out and jumped up to the announcement and shout, hooray! Grenadians could really accept cat and bag. It's a shame. Yvonne Joseph is there. I kind of like this one. TF says, it's not even cat and bag. It's only bag. Margaret says, TF, she is the political operative working in the PM's office. I know her very well. Okay, that explains the lady who was sitting behind Rena Pear. I didn't want to go there, Mags, but you did. TF says, George, that lady is the head of the NNP propaganda machine. She even had an office in the Prime Minister's office before the NDC won in 2013. See Sherron going like, one of them little puppies in the backs of the Puerto Rican taxis in New York? Sherron. Yeah. TF says, Mags, I know that. She do easy. All right. Yvonne Joseph says, I don't know that the citizens benefiting from hotels in Grenada this bunch of ministers is a shame to Grenada. Okay. Anthony DeRigg says, or Oliver Samuel. Yeah, somebody was saying that this man is a comedian. No, never mind. Okay, let me see here. Von Joseph says, when will Grenadians send this bunch of jokers packing? Grenada just going from bad to worse under this clueless bunch. The CBI benefiting NNP gang. And finally, John Franco says, politics at its best. Folks, and you guys, by the way, are still going. I'm really, really glad that I pulled that out last night. I'm really, really glad that I did. All right, let me take a break here. Before I go, let me show you. There she is. There she is. And you see the T-shirt. Well, it's not a T-shirt, excuse me. It's a golf shirt. It's a polo shirt. See what she's wearing this morning? Something about West Indies? Sherron's going to be with us in just a wee bit. Break first.
Inspection and licensing have begun, and at Hubbard's, we want you to be ready. From January to February 15th, we're offering vehicle owners with single registration letters 1 to 2,500 and plural registration letters 1 to 250, 10% off our new torque tires and Power Max batteries. Don't get caught unprepared. Visit us today at our motor department in Mungay or our tire bay in Grandance, located near Hubbard's Building Supplies.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Quad Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank. And there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our Speyside.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
All right, folks, I wasn't kidding when I said, well, you ain't finished yet, because I see some more comments are still coming in here. Bradley Vespre says, hotel creates low-paying jobs, environmental pollution, and cash flight. Yeah, I've heard that before. Ramrod says, good morning all. I'd like to know what was the exact explanation to the people of Grenada about the oil and gas. Everything is hush-hush. Nothing since the big announcements on the eve of the elections. Yet, Grenadians sit and take it like nothing for the time being. Joyce C. Smith says they are trying to come out of hiding because the people are asking questions and want to know what's going on in Grenada. T.F. Richards says CBI means comrades benefiting internally. Arthur Langine says, I love to see that smile on Sharon's face. Hope she's feeling better with her back. Let me say good morning to the lady now. Good morning, Sherron. How you doing, girl?
I'm good.
You good?
Yes.
To be fair, Sherron came in here with a smile this morning. She always comes into the studio with a smile, but I'm sure that having sat here and listened to what you were listening to, that helped her smile. Right? Am I right?
I don't know how to explain that sorry bunch you just saw there. One thing you must say about Mr. Cloud, he's a man of few words.
If that wasn't obvious to anyone. That man, he and I went to PBC together. Yeah.
Very few words, quite unlike his other brother.
Protect your territory. Stay safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, somebody said once about a certain individual in one of our organizations who talk a lot and say nothing. But he sounds as if he can confuse you with bullshit. You know? But I mean, this lot came so unprepared for that press conference.
Post-cabinet briefing.
Post-cabinet briefing. Totally unprepared. I heard no answers. I heard a lot of questions, yes. And some of them I know were staged. You would think at least they know the answers for the staged ones. But sad, very sad.
I couldn't let that pass me last night. I really couldn't let that pass me. I sat and I watched this thing and I just marveled, and I was counting the hours to airing that this morning. I wanted people to see for themselves. Because, you know, it's sad, but in Grenada, not a lot of people will watch the post-cabinet briefing or anything coming out from the government, you know.
I don't. And I know some people say, oh, you should listen to it for information, but I listen to it. I don't listen for health reasons. I said, I don't want my blood pressure going up. And this bunch, you have to look at it as a comedy in order not to get angry.
T.F. Richards says, Sherron, you just may be onto something there. A new sitcom in Grenada called The Sorry Bunch. A takeoff on the Brady Bunch?
Oh, yes. Sorry. You know, there was a comedy series in England called Yes Minister. This reminds me of. I mean, you come out there as a journalist. I don't know how you could leave that meeting and have anything to say. You cannot write a story based on what was given there. The answers given. You cannot, unless of course you're saying no comment. I have nothing to say.
Well, they said the equivalent to no comment in that, you know, some of the questions just were not answered. And then some of the answers you went like, huh?
Somebody asked you there, what was the reply given to the oil and gas question? And he did give an answer. He said it's the same answer that we had before. So.
You do the math. Yeah, you know, the sad thing about this is that the Grenadian populace, they sit here watching that. They're confused, they're frustrated. And then somehow government just does not seem to understand why the people are up in arms.
Well, are they ready?
Well, I mean, take a look at the comments you're seeing here this morning.
That's all you see. You see comments, you've seen anybody demonstrating and calling them out. Really?
Yeah.
So they're not, I mean, you're up in arms in words. And the reality is, if, I'm not saying a political party, but if a bunch of people get together today and say, let's go out and protest against what the government is doing, how many people you really think will go out there?
Yeah. TF says, Sherron, I can write a story and it would be entitled, quote, and the confusion continues, unquote.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making front page too.
Yep.
Michelle Forsyth says, you can write a story that says, when asked about anything the ministers did not know, then who knows?
They came so unprepared, it's ridiculous. You will expect better of some of these people.
And I would imagine that they call this press conference because I don't think the media doesn't have the authority to call these post-cabinet. These post-cabinet briefings are intended to discuss, to air what was discussed the day before in Parliament, in Cabinet, because Cabinet meets on a Monday.
What happened to the media lady who rough up people and so when they come to this?
I haven't seen her in Philomena Robinson.
Right.
I haven't come to think of it. I don't know.
Is
Vanished?
that what CW is doing sitting behind the spear?
I don't know. T.F. Richard says, Black Wizard's tunes are really coming to life. Anything they ask, I don't know. I don't know. You remember that Black Wizard? I don't know. Okay. All right, Sharon. Let's leave the post-cabinet briefing for a minute. I see you wearing cricket shirt this morning.
Yes, I'm going to.
But that one says ICC Cricket World Cup, England versus Wales 2019. That's the whole thing, man.
Not England versus Wales.
Yes, it says
It
right
was
there.
England and Wales.
Excuse me, England and Wales.
That's where the World Cup was held. So that was the shirt. Because remember, I went to
That's right.
So that's the only color I have to represent West Indies.
Okay.
So I'm going to cricket this afternoon.
Are you going down today?
Yeah, but I have to first go and stretch my back and then go down to the stadium.
All right. What time does cricket start today?
1.
It starts at 1 o'clock. So I see that people in government are getting time off. If you have a ticket.
That's weird. But it's customary.
It's customary.
They've been doing that for a while.
And I think the public workers would really appreciate that.
Well, somebody got upset with me this morning when they said about a sprinkling of people at the stadium. And I said, come, let's be fair. There was, well, I didn't say at that point there was more than a sprinkle. I said there were a lot of people there. The stadium was almost full. When I said the stadium was almost full, I mean, compared to the way it is normally, you go to cricket, because I love cricket. And long before my cricket husband, I go to cricket. And sometimes it's 2 or 3 of us in a place watching cricket. And I was pleasantly surprised because the Junior Murray stand and that stand was full. Where I was, there were quite a few people. I was in the members' pavilion, and there were a lot of people there. True enough, 2 stands were totally empty, and they had a few people in the party stand. The party stand was not full. But taking into consideration there was rain. You know how Grenadians love rain?
Mm-hmm.
Not. So I think we had a fair turnout. Considering they give away 1,000 tickets too, I don't know where the 1,000 people were. But.
Anthony Howard is asking me to turn on your mic. Her mic is on, Anthony. It's on. Anyway, I think somebody was pointing out that the stadium holds something like 15 to 17,000 people.
Right.
And I think it was Ray Roberts who intervened and said that
2,800 and something.
Right, so just under 3,000 people were there. And he says those are official figures as,
from the
as I
cricket,
understand. So say 3,000 out of 15,000. You're talking about 1/5 of the capacity of the stadium.
Yeah, but what's the population of Grenada? Grenadians go to church on Sunday. It was raining. Grenadians do not like rain. I thought there was an okay turnout.
Okay.
At least that's in my humble opinion. And you can't argue with people's opinion.
Yeah. And hopefully there'll be more today.
It doesn't matter to me as long as I see good cricket. It doesn't matter if I'm the only person sitting there.
You're going to watch them whoop?
Yep. and I will duck.
Yeah. I hope they get a good turnout today. Boy, I guess the Irish are Their tails are between their legs right now because they've lost all 3 matches, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the West Indian Cricket Board made a good choice when they put Pollard as captain.
Yeah.
Boy, I did not like Holder as captain.
Well, just wait until Pollard makes a boo-boo here or there, and everybody turn against him, right?
But
That's
the way things go here.
That's the way things go here.
When you're good, you're real good, and when you're bad, you're terrible.
I don't know. The Prime Minister was saying that, in his estimation, the turnout was an indication of the support of Grenadians for West Indies cricket. Okay? Now, I mean, let's assume that the official figures, there weren't as many as 3,000, but let's say 3,000. 3,000 out of 15,000, to me, it's disappointing. And do you think you should take that as an indicator of the support of Grenadians for West Indies cricket?
A lot of people didn't even know there was cricket to begin with. It was not promoted. You have to realize that not everybody listened to GBN.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't think it was promoted.
Okay. So theoretically then, it should not be taken as an indicator of our support for cricket.
I don't think so.
T.F. Richard says, George, as long as Grenadians cannot enjoy themselves as in the old-time days before all the stipulations, then the attendance would be slim. But as Sherron said, as compared to recent times, it was a good turnout.
Yeah. Compared to the way they normally turn out, I have no argument with it.
Now, as somebody who goes to cricket, what are the stipulations you think he's talking about here?
Well, they have to check your bag and make sure you can't go with water that has any tags on it. You can't go with, well, I think if you're going to the party stand, you could go with your musical instrument, but you can't really let loose and enjoy yourself.
Yeah. But from what I was watching the recent T20, and from what I saw, patrons were having one hell of a time.
You're talking about Bangladesh?
No. Oh, shoots. That, was it T20? The competition that last year, just towards the end of last year.
Last year.
You know, I mean, people, or one day, was it one day?
CPL, must be.
CPL, I think that's what it was. And people were having a hell of a time, man. I mean, it was like a carnival at every game that I watched.
Especially Trinidad. Trinidadians know how to party.
Know how to party.
Grenadians have become very, I think it's a reflection of the
circumstances.
Must be.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
TF says, I remember Katai used to cook oil down in Queen's Park. You know Katai?
No.
Katai drives a bus, a yellow bus. Not carrying locals, but when visitors come to the island, I think he's based down at Port Louis.
Okay.
Katai is a character. He drives a yellow bus, yellow hat, yellow shirt, yellow pants, yellow shoes, yellow.
Okay.
Guy looks like a clown, to be honest, but he's quite the character and a big tourist attraction. So yeah, that's TF said, George, T20 matches are the Soca monarch of cricket. Let's see.
So you should expect a big crowd today.
Yeah? All right. Enough of cricket now for the time being. Let me turn to something else I wanted to ask you about. Mr. McBarnett's death. I hear we had a death overnight.
Yes, he died this morning.
Did you know him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Camo McBarnett.
Camo McBarnett, gone.
Rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. Anything, I forgot my manners. I started without even saying to you, well, Sherron, what's on your mind this morning? But then CBI preoccupied you, right?
Well, actually, what I was thinking has to do a bit with CBI. The 40% set aside for disasters. My question is, are they going to use it to fix the road, Molyneux? That's a disaster.
That's something that came up on my WhatsApp forum, whether those funds are going to be used.
Right. And we have some people here who are referred to as surges. In the event of a disaster, I think there are 5 of us. And it's connected to OFDA, that's the U.S. organization to do with after and the event after a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw a few of the members reaching out to the woman in Jamaica who is head of OFDA for Grenada, mentioning the problem in Molineux. So I hope that they look at it. It is a disaster because the chances are some people lose their houses and all that. So that 40%, I want to suggest they look into putting it towards fixing that disaster. But my other question is, if 40% goes towards that, what happens to
the other
this
60%?
60%? Is that divided up among Alibaba?
I'm in my
No
rocking
answer.
chair.
No answer. Yeah.
I put in an Oliver Joseph this morning, no answer.
Oh gosh. Maybe
yeah.
Arthur Langine or somebody might have a
please.
suggestion as to what happens to the 60%.
Please, don't get Arthur started. Please, don't get Arthur started. John Franco says he went to school together with his bro, I think, Camus McBarnett.
Oh.
Somebody was asking which McBarnett, and Margaret just answered and said it was Camus. Let me see. You're talking about this Molineux situation. Did you see yesterday's program? I ran a video of what's happening up in St. David. You saw that?
St. David?
Yeah, near to a place called Laura.
Oh yeah, I passed through there last night. It's pretty bad. And they're doing, I just heard the minister say something about his one way. No, it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
No. At least it wasn't at 9 o'clock last night.
The island is slipping away.
Yeah.
When you take a look at not just these slippages, but also the beach erosion that's taking place around the island.
And anytime the rain comes like that, and since the beginning of the year, the rain, every now and then you have a shower, and a couple of days it lasted all day, just constant. And
Go ahead. Let that
somebody
phone
calling
ring.
you. Oh. Yeah, and when the rain comes like that, then you expect a lot of slippage. I have an issue with the Western Road. I do not drive that way if I could help it, unless it's an emergency and I can't find another route. But Grenada has a lot of detours.
Yeah.
You could decide to change your course
Back
and
road.
you could find a back road.
Yeah.
And some of them real good, eh?
Yeah.
Have you ever been on that road, Hopevale?
No.
The Hopevale Road?
No.
It's real good.
Okay.
With the exception of one little area where you have a slippage and nobody seemed to realize that.
Something that really bothers me. These slippages could be really aggravated if we happen to get earthquakes, and there have been a lot of earthquakes in the Caribbean in the last few weeks. Now, never mind what's happening out in Puerto Rico. They had a 6.5, which actually took a life. But if we were to have some tremors here, with the slippage in Molineux and the slippage up at Laura, we could be up a creek.
You should see what I consider a disaster yesterday going up Richmond Hill. A truck passed up with gravel. And I'm sure by the time we got where he was going, he was practically empty. You should see gravel on the road. And they didn't stop and clean it. Nobody came to clean it. Somebody coming on a bike or a bicycle or something. Instant disaster.
Yeah.
So those things, Maris Hill is famous for it. A truck coming up, they drop all the gravel, and you coming behind.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. This morning, somebody sent me a video too. There's somebody in Puerto Rico. He claims to be a government official, but he's blaming the earthquakes in Puerto Rico on the fact that they're drilling for oil. Did you see that?
No.
He says apparently they have hit some of the plates, and that's what created that 6.5 a couple of days ago. I have no proof of that. And I am even more leery of stuff I see now on the internet because of what happened this past week. And you heard the talk about the fish leaving the ocean and running aground, and the tidal wave in, where was it, Aruba? Yeah.
Right.
Garbage.
Of course it's garbage.
Garbage. Thank God yesterday, Margaret jumped online here and she said, George, I also did a search on the internet and didn't find anything about it. And there happened to be somebody in Aruba who was with us yesterday, and he confirmed that. So you have to be very, very careful about this stuff you see out there.
And you
Anything
know,
that-
the fish can come through. They do. Sometimes, I remember a couple of years ago in Peter Martinique, you know what they call a pilot whale? Some people call them blackfish. They ran aground in Peter Martinique. And I remember a few media people came up and checked it out. And it turned out that they tend to follow the pack, right? So one goes off. And if they develop a infection, it can cause them to run
Lose
to
orientation.
shore. Right. And if one decide to go to shore, they all follow them.
Yeah.
You know? So in the case of what happened in Peter Martinique, we had all the people come out, a lot of people came out and put them back out to sea. And so.
But this
it can
issue, this thing in Martinique, I did a search. All you need to do is Google Martinique fish, and I came across a video where apparently some people went out fishing, and it's illegal to do what they call trawling, okay? But people went out and they were trawling, and they brought in a lot of fish. And on the beach there, people were taking these fish out of the nets and dumping them in some boats. This is the video that this person apparently saw and concluded that the fish were actually running ashore.
My goodness.
And then, so I read there's an article, an accompanying article, which explained that the authorities up there are pretty peeved because it's illegal to do trawling. You know? So, never mind. Anything else, my dear? Oh, by the way, T.F. Richard says, Sherron, you were asking a little while ago, what about the 60%? T.F. says, Sherron, the 60% is for the CBI, Comrades Benefit Internally. See?
All right.
Anything you want to add, my dear, before we pull the curtain down?
Not really.
No? Okay.
No, I'm looking.
Well, my dear, go enjoy your cricket this afternoon. Is Winty going to be there?
No.
Winty's not going to be there?
No, SGU reopened and today is orientation for
Oh.
students. So he will not be there.
I know Winty loves the SGU, but boy, he must be peeved at their timing.
Let's put it this way, he's not happy.
He's not a happy camper. Anthony says, hi, George. We speak of Molinaire, but there are two locations between your office and the roundabout that may end up being as bad as Molinaire. Between here and the roundabout. Which one?
You're talking about the Governor General's roundabout?
Which roundabout are you talking about, Anthony Howard? I don't know. He says,
Because you have two.
He says here on your street.
A roundabout in your street? Oh, yes, he's quite right. The little tie about at the end of the road going towards the villa.
Oh, off Willett Road here?
Yes. It's terrible. Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Get ready to bail me out, folks.
He's
Because
right.
we're up here on the hill, you know.
Yes, and just about a couple of yards away from your gate.
Really?
Real disaster. You should just take a little walk
No, I
with
know.
your camera.
No, I know. But this has been there for quite a while, and maybe that's the reason why I haven't
It's
paid
getting
attention
worse.
to it. Really?
It's getting worse.
I know it. Thank you, Anthony. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, yes. The whole island is slipping.
Yeah.
Slipping. Okay, my dear. That's going to do it for this morning. Let me take a quick little break here, and then we'll come on back and wrap it up.
GRENADA Community Partnership Initiative.
We at the Dorothy Hopkins Center can always rely on you for your steadfast help. It's always forthcoming. We have seen the benefits already. Our bill has been reduced, I was told, by over 40%, and that is welcome because that translates to more care for the residents. And so, thanks again.
GRENADA, energizing our community.
Conveniently located in the Grand Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grenadans will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep,
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Alrighty, folks, just about time to pull the curtain down on the Wednesday edition of Good Day Grenada. Let me tell you, this has probably got to be one of the shortest passages I have ever shared with you as an inspirational. You go to Psalm 34, verse 19. That's it. verse 19. Listen to this. The righteous person may have many troubles, but the Lord delivers him from them all. Told you, short and sweet. Now, shouldn't life be a heck of a lot easier once you accept that? Psalm 34, verse 19. Georgie Porgy's going to hightail it out of here. I certainly hope that you have a great day. Another big cruise ship in town here today. I think it's a boatload of Germans. The Aida Perla, I think it is. Big ship. And looks like they've got some really, really good weather today. And by the way, Maria St. Bernard says, amen. Hey, Maria, you know where we're coming from, eh? The righteous person may have many troubles, but the Lord delivers him from them all. God bless you, folks, and by his grace, we'll see you tomorrow morning at 9.